early evening. Been back to the car, charged the phone battery, googled what the problem was with the iPhone. I've reset everything. It seems, I haven't had a look yet, but it seems to have worked. I'm down at the far end of the lake. I rode or used the motor, boated through the reserve purely because it was the most direct route down here. Had a good look around in there. Couldn't see any of my bait that I put out there a couple of days ago, which is good news. But I cut up the grass so badly, just from all of the up and down the bank in the wet weather. It just made the grass turn to mud, and it looks so obvious someone's been in there, which is exactly what a reserve isn't for. So I've moved off purely for the safety. If I get caught in there, I'm in a lot more trouble than if I get caught on the main body of water. So I'm down the far east end of the lake, southeast corner. There's a small island here. I've got two rods just through the bushes here. Ideally you want the long bank sticks. I've left them at the van. You can't carry everything around with you. So anyway, I've got two just through there, out basically out to where I found clear spots. With the Polaroids on, you can see that there are real glowing spots, which are the kind of firm gravel. I tend to actually avoid them a little bit. I'm on the smoother, slightly weedier silt, because I know that's where they feed. That's where I've had them from before. So I've got two out that way. Nice spread of about 2 kilos of bait in and around the area. And then I've got two out that way. Sorry, my knees are killing me. I've got two out that way. One in about 12 foot, surrounded by 18 foot, which is the deepest part of the lake really. And then one just off the corner of the island, out to my right, which is gin clear water. It's on gravel, that one. And I could see everything. I saw it drop in. I saw the bait lying nicely away from the lead, all looking perfect. So I'm quite confident of that spot. It all depends on whether or not the carp are down here, or the big carp are down here. The amount of times you spend ages just getting it exactly right and you don't get a take. Then when you've got a big wind on, you can't see a thing. You just plonk it in, get some bait close by purely because you can't do anything else in the waves, and that's the times you get the bites. It's really timing more than anything else. I know I've got a good quality bait. I know my rigs are sound, hooks are sharp. There's nothing more you can do other than time it right and be in the right place at the right time. Look, you give them one, they don't go away. My mistake. Cool, straight down the gunnet. It's coming up to lunchtime on the Wednesday. More rain last night, electric thunderstorms. Not a touch. Still got the rods out. I'm going to give it another 24 hours here. If the weather changes, I'll replace the rods. If it doesn't, they'll be out for 48 hours. The poisson chat aren't active yet, thank goodness. I mean, that's one major plus, and the other major plus is that the weed isn't up either. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Well, one thing's good, the sun's come out. One thing's bad, I've just been busted by the guard. No fine, but I've got to tackle down and leave this evening, which is pretty disappointing, to be honest. the sun's going down now. Disaster, in fact. It's a good 2-hour pack up. It's basically going to be a night wasted. So anyway, I guess I better start packing up. It's possible to take the risk, but I don't think so. They know I've been here for a couple of days. The mud's unbelievable. Anyway, at least I didn't get a fine.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Obviously I got chucked off at about 7 PM last night. By the time I got all my gear back to base camp, it was dark and it was about 11 o'clock. I was exhausted. I just chucked everything in the van, which is now a complete bomb site. And I've driven the best part of an hour and a half just for the last couple of nights. This is the same lake, incidentally, that I fished with Tim in October. We both have 40s. There are a lot bigger carp in here. We know that. 2 nights. Hopefully I'll get. There are a lot of carp in here, so hopefully I'll get some sort of action. It never really fishes that well in spring, this lake. Possibly to do with the fact it's connected to the river and the fish do as they please. They can go in and out. It's a big opening, so often they can be out in the river. But with all the rain we've had recently, the river's a raging torrent. I'd like to think that there's quite a few of them in here. So anyway, time to get moving, rejuvenate the battery. Right, an hour later and we're ready to go. 4 rods heading out that way, and I'm going to have 1 more just round to the left up the margin, although this right hand rod's going to be up the margin as well, so we're going to have two out up the margin, 3 out into open water. Just been up the right hand margin to a main snag about 400 or 500 yards up. Proper snag. It's like a huge oak tree that's fallen in many years ago, and I must have counted about 15 carp just milling about in it. There's no other carp up the margin that I saw, but the one saving grace, there didn't look to be anything over about 40. There were a couple that looked sort of 35 to 40 pound. The others looked like they were 20s, possibly low 30s, and a few doubles. It's great news that they're up here. It's just a bit gutting that they're all sitting in the main set. I'm not gonna move now. I've fished up there before. That's where I had the 23 kilo from that main snag, and I've had several other good carp from up there as well. But unfortunately, the snag's so severe, and the swim, the only accessible swim, is pretty close to it, and you end up losing a few. So I'm happy with here. Let's just hope later on tonight they'll start mooching on their way on down the margin. I've probably put 2 kilos just dotted about all the way down the margin, so sort of 2 baits every 3 or 4 metres. Battery's about to go on that camera. It's looking good. I think I'm going to get something. Hopefully a biggie, but probably not. Excuse me while I brush my teeth. Right, Thursday evening, 9 PM. Once again we've got another thunderstorm on the way. 20-30 yards out, there's it's about a 10-foot gully, about 3.5 metres. I was contemplating put a bait in that, but I know that the big cats, which are very active at this time of year, they patrol that gully. So I've put all 3 rods at range between 150 and 250 yards out into open water. They're all those three are on mono. Cool, did you see that? All those three are on mono because there's still a bit of weed floating about. With braid, it's only the moment the weed starts building up on the braid, it's only going to drag your lead no matter how big it is, which is why I've gone onto the mono on those three rods. It's 18-pound power carp. It's pretty much all I use in France. It's so durable for this sort of fishing. Jesus Christ. Flipping heck. One take in the middle of the storm. There were 3-foot waves coming in. I just winched it in thinking that it was going to be quite a decent carp, only to find that it was a bloody great catfish. Right, well it's night 7 of 7 and I've just opened this bottle of wine, or attempted to open this bottle of wine. I think it's quite a good example of how the last 5 nights, or even 6 nights, have gone. Cork broke. I've lost my glass, and there are little bits of cork all over the place in it. I couldn't even open the bottle of wine properly, and same goes for my fishing. I couldn't catch a bloody carp if it was to save my life. I've had the best part of 6 nights without a carp. I was contemplating moving on to somewhere easy just for the last night, just to try and get some sort of action, but I thought I may as well stick it out down here. Just as I was just reeling my third rod in, and I had a few bleeps on it first light this morning, and it dropped back 2 inches. I had a similar sort of thing at about 8 PM last night. I wound down and hit it, and there was nothing there, and I boated out to the spot, and it was still exactly placed, lead intact and everything. So this morning when the same thing happened, I didn't think too much of it, and I just tightened up. Anyway, this morning when this afternoon when I went to reel it in, the lead had been ejected. So it was a take of sorts. Whether it was one of these small carp or even a tench, I don't know, or it could have been a big one, which is why I've thought about staying one more night. Well, I can see a dead cat down there, but no sign of any carp. What a lovely way to end up packing up after blanking for 7 nights, finding a bloody great red ant's nest in your tackle box. You want to try reeling in 7-ounce lead through thick beds of weed at 200 yards when you're packing up, because it certainly isn't easy. Well, I just stopped off in the Loire Valley on my journey back up. I've got to do a few chores for my mum. She owns a cottage in the Loire Valley. I've got to go and sort out a few bits of refurb for her. It's a bank holiday. I had no intention of fishing tonight, but she tells me that there's no bedding at the house. So it's like, well, flipping heck. Got my Google Maps out. Found a bit of blue that wasn't commercial, and I found this lovely 40 or 50 acre mere. There's a couple of carp anglers further down. I asked them, they said it's €24 for a night. So anyway, no one's come. It was getting dark. It was pretty much my only option. no one's come, so I'm going to try and pack up and get out of here before anyone comes. But I thought I'd just chuck the rods out for the night. It looked like basically everyone's down that other end by the road, the easy access. I've come right up the far end. It's beautiful countryside, really shallow mere, and it looked good. Saw a couple of fish, so I stuck out with the stick, probably about 2.5 kilos of live system. It was one of those places where it looked like it wanted a little bit of bait, and I had a brace of 20s. Alright, not massive carp, but this was the bigger of the two at 25. Nice little fish. And this was the smaller of the two at 21. Right, let's go and get those chewers done.